Alright, so we're going to get started on basic typography. We're going to look at some of the text utility classes, classes for headings, things like that. So you should be in your Bootstrap sandbox, and it should be the file 2_2 basic typography.html. And we're going to go down to where it says start here. So we have a bunch of headings here, H1 through H6. Now one thing we can do with Bootstrap 4 is we can take a heading and we can display it as a different heading. So let's say we want this heading 4 right here. We want to keep it as an H4 semantically, but we want to display it bigger. For instance, we wanted to display the size of it in H2. So what we could do is we could actually just add the class of H2 and save it, and now you'll see that it got bigger. It's now the same size as the H2. Alright, another thing that you'll often see with headings sometimes is we'll have some kind of subtext after it. So what we could do is we could put inside the H1 a small tag, and we'll give that a class of text muted, which is something we're going to get into later. These are just basically color classes for text, and then we'll just say subtext, and we'll save that. And you'll see that'll give it kind of a subheader or subtext effect. Alright, so we also have display classes with Bootstrap 4. So I'm going to go to this H1 right here, and we'll give it a class of display-1. Let's go ahead and save that, and you'll see that it makes it absolutely humongous. So these are really good for like showcases, jumbotrons, things like that. So we have display-1. We also have display-2. Okay, so that's display 2. We have display 3. And we have display 4. Alright, so 1 through 4. Now for paragraphs, this is what just a standard paragraph looks like. We also have a class called lead that we can use to make the paragraph a little more prominent. So for this one here, I'm going to add a class of lead, okay, and this is also available in Bootstrap 3 if you're familiar with that, and it just makes the font a little bigger, a little more prominent. Alright, now we also have some styling classes. So for instance, if we wanted to make this text bold right here, what we could do is we could add a class of font weight bold. We'll save that. Now you can see the text is bold. If it was bold and you wanted to change it back to normal, you could add a class of font weight normal, which in this case it's not going to change because it already was normal. We can also make it italic by giving it a class of font italic. We'll save that, and you can see that this text is now italic. We can also transform text. So let's say this right here, we want to make this all lowercase even though it's all uppercase, and we can do that by giving it a class of text dash lowercase, and I'll save that. Whoop. And now you'll see it's all lowercase. We could do the same thing with uppercase, so that would be text dash uppercase, and we'll save, and now you can see that's all uppercase. We can also do capitalized, so text dash capitalize, and what that does is it'll make every first letter of every word capitalized. Alright, now for block quotes, there's actually a class called block quote that we can use. So class block quote, we'll save that. Okay, so it makes it a little more prominent. If we wanted to have a block quote aligned to the right, we could just give it a class of block quote. Now with Bootstrap 4 beta, they got rid of the block quote reverse, so now you're just going to use text right, which is an alignment class. Alright, and you'll see that it's now aligned to the right. And then if you wanted a block quote with a footer, we could give this a class of block quote. Let's align it to the right. And then for the footer, we can give that a class of block quote dash footer, and we'll save that, and now you can see it gives it it makes it lighter, it gives it some italic styling, and so on. Alright, so let's see, for lists, we're going to get into list groups later, but just for regular lists, we have our bullets here. Let's say that we want to remove the bullets and the padding. What we could do is add a class here of list dash unstyled, and save. You'll see the bullets are now removed, the padding's removed. We can also make lists inline by giving the UL a class of list inline. Okay, we also have to add a class to the LIs of list dash inline dash item. Okay, so we'll give each one of these that class and we'll save, and now you can see that they're inline. So this is good for like quick navigations and things like that. Alright, so that's going to be it for this, guys, for the basic typography. In the next video, we're going to start to get into text alignment and some of the display classes.